Another method of attacking is to initiate the attack you wish to do, and for this example, I'll discuss a single leg. Attacking that at perhaps somewhat less than full force, simply to get your opponent's reaction. Although it needs to be enough to get a reaction, so it has to be a fairly believable attack. Then when your opponent regains his position after trying to defend against that initial movement, you then come in with your attack. So for example, on a single leg, if I was wrestling with Colby here and I made a feint that I was going to attack a single, but I really wasn't trying to, I'm just trying to test his reaction out and also to get him to move, I could fake a single, he steps back, but then he also comes in position, and at that point when he's coming back, that's when I want to attack. So that could be done with a single or a double or a high crotch. If my partner or opponent is going to attack a single on me, he shoots or feigns a shot, I step back to try to defend it, but now I've got to get back in position. Boom. That's when my opponent attacks. Again, I feign an attack, and he comes back, and that's when I attack. As much as I can, I prefer to be attacking right as he's readjusting and stepping forward. So I fake, boom. That's when I want to attack. So, if my opponent is feigning an attack on me, he attacks or feigns the attack, I pull my leg back, and right as I adjust, bang! That's when my opponent would want to then re-attack. Again, I'm moving around, I feign an attack, he comes back, and then I come in. That's a simple way of being able to attack, and what's nice about it is you have in your brain the thing you're going to do both for the setup as well as the attack. The final thing I want to discuss, and I think this is very effective, it's deceptively effective, and that is there's a tendency, and this may not be so true, for example, in mixed martial arts or no holds barred, because we're probably not going to be maintaining this type of a range. But for jiu-jitsu or for submission wrestling, when the range is going to typically be fairly close when you are competing on your feet, there is a tendency as I approach my opponent for him to tie up. So when I get close enough, most people, most opponents are going to work some type of a tie-up. Usually to work a tie-up, they've got to move their arms to tie you up. And that's when I want to use my attacking maneuver. So, as I step in, I want to concentrate on keeping my level slightly lower than Colby. I want to keep my arms in. And so I know, based upon human nature and experience wrestling, when I get within a certain range, he's going to want to tie up with me. So normally, I come into that certain range, he ties up, and I tie up. And then we proceed from there, each trying to get increasingly improved position so that we can ultimately attack and score. But instead, and I'd suggest you consider this type of alternative at times, instead of, in a knee-jerk reaction, attempting to re-tie up with your partner, given that we know most of the time that he is going to tie up, anticipate that, and as your partner begins to move his arms, typically upward or outward, to make contact with you, that will leave an opening. So I anticipate that, and then I want to attack. I approach Colby in a low stance. I know he's probably going to tie up. I'll start out a little further. So I continue to go in slowly, and I'm anticipating as soon as he ties up, that's when I want to come in and I want to attack. I'm anticipating that. And at first it's a little awkward, but you'll notice, particularly when you're going live, there is a tremendous tendency for your opponent, when you get within a certain range, to want to make contact with you. And that's your opportunity, given that that is almost done in an unthinking manner by most people. That is your opportunity to attack. You just simply need to keep your level low and be able to anticipate right as the opponent or your partner starts to reach towards you, because at that point, typically, they're also slightly committing their weight forward, and that gives you a good opportunity. The next thing, too, to consider when you do that, say, for example, if Colby tied up with me the same way, as he ties up, and say this time, instead of me leading with my right foot and attacking with a single, I could attack with the double. And as he does that, to spear him with your head. It's kind of like staying in really tight and just being able to keep walking in when he's trying to tie up, because this position is very favorable for me to grab a leg in here. So, in review, this type of technique I think is useful because most people anticipate you to tie up with them once they've tied up with you. And if you can use that knowledge such that you can anticipate their tie-up and be vigilant to when they begin that motion to tie you up as your opportunity to attack, that gives you a really good opening. Once more, as I approach Kobe, I'm going to stay low. I'm anticipating he comes in, and I'm going to drive through. You'll notice I tried staying compact. Even if he's snapping me, I stay compact and I'm trying to come in. Instead of grabbing and trying to tie up underhooks, this is a useful alternative. I'm not saying never tie up with an opponent. I tie up a lot. But what I am saying is use that bit of knowledge to occasionally change the pace to allow yourself an opening for an attack.